We have the honor in our Moadon Le'oleh and at the Telfed building to have a Chaver Knesset. In this room we have our Upan. Upan La'inyan, we partnered with Upan La'inyan and we learn Hebrew here. I think it's quite amazing that we have a relatively new Oleh. Rabbi Lippman, I think, has been in Israel for 7 or 8 years? 9 years. And I think for a relatively new Oleh from the English-speaking country to be in the Knesset, and his Hebrew is quite remarkable. Tonight we're going to hear him in English. It really says something. And we're very honored to have you with us tonight. He was recently elected to head the Parliamentary Commission that deals with South Africa. And as soon as I asked Rabbi Lippman to come, he immediately acquiesced. We're very thankful and we're honored to have you with us here tonight. Bakasha, Chaver Knesset.
Thank you, Doron, Mr. Ambassador-elect, and other dignitaries that are here. It's when you get an invitation to an event of this kind, for someone in my position, I mean, Doron can attest to it, I didn't really hesitate. The importance of Olim and English-speaking Olim from Western countries and all around the world working to help Aliyah succeed and people's absorption to succeed is one of the most critical things that we could do. When we made Aliyah 9 years ago, it was my wife and 4 children, and we got on that plane. So all of you are Olim, so this is not a story which is describing an experience you haven't experienced, but we were in JFK Airport in New York, and we were on a Nefesh B'Nefesh flight, so every person on this flight was making Aliyah. So you can just imagine the commotion, the teary goodbye, literally feeling like we're ripping our children away from their grandparents. We got on the plane and we're getting settled, and the pilot went through the regular routine that pilots go through. He said, we'll be flying at 30,000 feet, the flight will take 9.5 hours, in about an hour there'll be dinner, then the movie, etc. And then he said, sit back, relax, enjoy the flight, I'm here to take you home. And it was a moment where I can tell you that my wife and I were moving with all the dreams of Zionism and a better life for our children in a Jewish country. Somehow in that one little phrase, he captured it. He captured it. And it's our responsibility to make sure that everybody who comes here really feels that it's home. And in my short 4.5 months or so in the Knesset, I really see the challenges that people have, and the broader country is not aware of the fact that Olim from English-speaking countries have these challenges. There seems to be an assumption that we somehow have jobs and we have money and we're not struggling, but people are struggling. We know that Aliyah, I mean, the Talmud itself says that one of the 3 things which are acquired through Yisurin, through suffering, is the land of Israel. It's something which is so precious and so special, we have to really work hard. And I so applaud the efforts, just sitting here and hearing about people who stood up and started organizations to help people with the pressing needs that they have and providing an address for them. From my perspective, there could be no holier work, and I applaud this. Certainly the effort of bringing together the Good Kochot, bringing together the 2 organizations and building off each other's strengths is something which can only bring success. I was recently named as the head of the Knesset, it's hard to describe it in English per se, but the delegation towards the parliament, I'll say it that way, in South Africa, and I have a lot to learn. I learned something tonight, by the way, that it's not South African, but it's Southern African. That's something which I will correct in everything when I talk about this. There was a lot that we need to do, though, from my perspective, in terms of inspiring more Aliyah. Doron mentioned that there's a notion within the Jewish agency community that Aliyah, for the most part, is over. And now it's time to focus on this side of the various oceans. We are dedicating a huge part of our efforts towards trying to re-inspire Aliyah from English-speaking countries, and in particular amongst younger people. I just feel that at younger ages, it's the best time to come here and establish yourself here, go to school here, serve in the army here, and build a family here. And this is something which we'll be announcing hopefully in the coming months, initiatives that we have towards that. We certainly welcome all of you to participate in that. A lot of people look at our efforts in terms of breaking down barriers and trying to create unity in Israel, which is my number one theme. That's what brought me to politics to begin with, in my hometown of Beit Shemesh, when I saw the tensions between the communities. And that's very much what brought me to Yesh Atid, in terms of being part of a party which represents various populations. But it's something which we have to work on in all of Israel. And we, from the various countries that we come from, can play a huge role in that, because I think that if you look back to our countries of origin, some of these tensions between communities did not exist. I can certainly speak for America. Growing up in Silver Spring, Maryland, tensions between different Jews didn't exist. People were different streams and everyone got along with one another, and tensions between Jews and non-Jews weren't so strong. We were able to respect one another, and that's very much the attitude we're trying to bring here. A lot of people tell me, and I'm going to close with this point, they say, Dov, that's a dream. It's a dream. Yeah, you're coming, you're fresh off the boat, you don't understand. In Israel, we're very stubborn in our ways, and nothing's going to change. And English-speaking Olim in general, you don't have much of a say here. All of you are very nechmad, we're very nice, and we're not used to the culture. By the way, in 4 months, I've learned the political culture, and I've left my shell. But that's what they say. And they say, it's a dream, you just come here and do your thing and don't be involved. And my message to you, when people say, or what I think about when people say it's just a dream, here's what I think about it. And I hope that all of you walk away from tonight with this story. When I was a young kid growing up in Silver Spring, we went a few times a year to the Soviet embassy in Washington to demonstrate for our brothers and sisters behind the Iron Curtain. A very proud moment in world Jewry, where all of us really rallied together for them. And one of those times, I remember it like yesterday, we did a silent vigil. Usually we sang Am Yisrael Chai and all this. We did a silent vigil. And they gave me a sign to hold, and I remember reading the sign. I had no idea who he was. But my sign, as this 14-year-old kid in Silver Spring, my sign said, Free Yuli Edelstein. That was my sign. I came here from the Knesset, sitting there decades later as a member of the parliament, and sitting in the front of the room in the big chair is the speaker of the Knesset, Yuli Edelstein. So no one can tell us not to dream, and no one can tell us not to believe, and no one can tell us that the impossible can happen. This is where it does happen. David HaMelech said, Shir HaMa'alot b'shuv Adonai Shivat Zion hayinu kechomim. We're like dreamers. It's a dream. 70 years ago, my grandmother, who's still, thank God, alive and well, she was languishing in Auschwitz. And a month and a half ago, she came and visited us, and came to visit us in Israel, in a free Jewish country, in a Jewish parliament, with a grandson. Anything's possible. Anything's possible, and we do have a say, and we can make a difference, and I really applaud all of the efforts here. I apologize, I'm going to be leaving in a few minutes, I'm catching a flight to Canada, but it was very important for me to be here, and I hope that if I can be involved in any way, I'm here for that purpose. When I stood up in the Knesset, and I said, Mitchayev ani, I thought about the English-speaking population, who needs to have representation in the Knesset, and if there's any way that I can help, I'm going to leave a stack of cards here. Don't hesitate to be in touch with the various organizations as well. I hope we can all partner together with Misrad HaKlita, who are very open to helping us, and they're there for us, and have a wonderful relationship with the minister and the new Mankal. And there's a lot that we can do together, and hopefully all these groups together can make that dream come true of just a better Israel, a better home, right? As he said, Chazarnu Habayta, this is our home, and it's our responsibility to make our home as great as it can be. So thank you so much, and I want to